in the suburbs of Butler, Pennsylvania, and he saw their son Brudge grow up and learn to stand and walk for the first time. Prabhupada was just a sadhu from Vrindavan, from India, and now in Butler, Pennsylvania, in America, trying to figure out, how am I going to survive here? How am I going to spread Krishna consciousness here? I have the order of my spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was in India, and he heard a beautiful verse on Bhagavad Gita. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kunandana bahushaka hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasahinam. That one should be one-pointed in one's devotional service, and otherwise bahushaka hyanantascha, one's focus will be many-branched. So this was a purport on this verse by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that said that the disciples' one-pointed determination should be the instructions of the spiritual master. In 1922, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur instructed Srila Prabhupada, you should preach this message of Krishna consciousness in the English language and spread it all over the world. So 1922 to 1966, 44 years, the instruction of the spiritual master may be postponed, but never neglected. So he got off the boat, he went to Butler, Pennsylvania, didn't know whether to turn left or right. He took bath in the bathroom. There was a bathtub. He put his mug in the bathtub, and he was pouring the water over his head, and the water was coming out of the door of the bathroom, and Sally Agarwal was like, what's going on? And so Prabhupada didn't know about the customs and the way things were done in America. But Prabhupada didn't let that stop him. He said, it's not happening here. I'm not able to preach effectively in Butler, Pennsylvania. So let me go to New York City. So he traveled there in 1965. I was born in New York City in 1965. And then Srila Prabhupada, he decided to incorporate the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Nityananda Ram Prabhu, you can carry on the story for some time. Share what happened next. How did Prabhupada start this movement? Why did he start this movement? What was in his mind?
Well, please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. New York City 75 years ago was not much different than it is now. Just things got built a little differently, but the people were basically the same. And Prabhupada struggled mightily when he first got there. He slept in what's known as a loft, which is almost like sleeping in an abandoned building. And he had everything he had stolen and returned by a guilty thief. And he, at one point, after he had established a little storefront and had 15 or so people coming on a regular basis, he felt like there was enough forward movement. He had sent Mukunda to San Francisco, and Mukunda had rented a house and was doing programs there. And Prabhupada was now saying we had two temples, but we just had a retail storefront and a house in San Francisco. And with two temples, he felt it was time to go down to the city clerk's office in New York City and incorporate. Now, Prabhupada had been a businessman in India for at least 30 years and understood the nature of corporations quite well, as he had had India corporations before. He had Day Pharmaceuticals, DEY Pharmaceuticals, which was incorporated in India. And he operated under the Day Pharmaceutical name for quite a long time. And so he was very familiar with corporations. But what really surprised the devotees, especially the ones in New York, was that he came back from the clerk's office at the courthouse where they register the corporations, holding a piece of paper that said the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And the devotees looked at this piece of paper and said, you have 15 people in two places, one in San Francisco, a house in San Francisco, and a storefront, and you're the International Society. And Prabhupada had already seen that it was going to be international, because a few weeks after the devotees were laughing at Prabhupada for having an international corporation, Prabhupada said, just see. And he called Mukunda up on the phone and said, I need you to go to London and open a temple. And Mukunda said, oh, okay, I'll leave the people who are here in San Francisco, and I'll go to London and open a temple. And therefore, a few months after we had the International Society incorporated, we now had an international society, because Mukunda went to London and rented another house, which became the third temple. And from there on, Prabhupada understood that this process that he was engaged in of getting young women and men to follow him and do as he was instructing, they were also very eager to get on airplanes, fly to foreign countries, and rent storefronts and houses and call them temples. And this was the master plan. The entire master plan was open as many temples as you can before you die of old age. And remember, Prabhupada lived, he was only with us 11 years, 12 years. And that's the amount of time when you're an old man. And the clock is ticking much faster. And he managed to get over 100 of those temples for the International Society opened. And that was his plan. His plan was that I need to be remembered for something if this is going to stick around after I'm gone. So I'll get Rameshwar in Los Angeles to get all these books printed, which will last a long time. And I'll get all these temples opened up, and I will live up to what my Guru Maharaj said. My Guru Maharaj said, go preach in the West in the English language. And this is what Prabhupada's goal was, to found a society that had books that we had after he was gone, which is our foundation, and to have temples around the world so that we could have congregations. And that was the plan, and it's worked out very well.
Jai Ho, Jai Ho. So regarding Srila Prabhupada's plan, thank you so much, Nityananda Ram Prabhu, for sharing Srila Prabhupada's mission. Open as many temples as possible. And it was predicted when Prabhupada was born by an astrologer that he would open 108 temples. And he actually did that before he left. And now the legacy of Srila Prabhupada continues through all of you. All of the devotees participating today here on the call, we're all part of Prabhupada's mission to continue opening temples, continue printing books, continue distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, continuing to distribute this message and culture of Krishna consciousness. So I'd like to just briefly go into a little bit more about the message and the culture of Krishna consciousness and exactly what Srila Prabhupada had in mind when he incorporated the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. So when the incorporation was done, he was required to give the purposes of the organization. That's required. When you incorporate, you have to give the purposes of the organization to incorporate. So I'm just going to share 7 purposes that were mentioned when Srila Prabhupada did this incorporation. So when Srila Prabhupada began the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in New York City in 1966, he formulated a clear mission statement. Thus, the 7 purposes of ISKCON are as follows. Number 1, to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate all people in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalances of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. And as Nityananda Prabhu was describing, one of the ways in which he did this was in printing books. And of all the books, one of the most important ones that he printed was Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam explains in the 1st canto, 5th chapter, 11th verse, Tad Bhagvisargo Janataga Viplavo Yasmin Pratishlokam Abhavatya Api Namani Anantasya Yashon Kintaniyat Shrinvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadhavaha. Tadvag, these words, Tadvag Visargo Janata, of the people, Viplavo, a revolution, that these words of Srimad Bhagavatam will create a revolution in the lives of an impious civilization. The world at that time, 1966, people were so sinful. People were eating meat, drinking wine, having illicit sex, gambling. Actually, since Kali Yuga started, people are just more and more and more sinful, especially today. So Srimad Bhagavatam is so relevant. It will create a revolution in the lives of an impious civilization. Advag Visargo Janataga Viplavo Yasman Pratishlokam, with every verse, Abhavatyapi, even though imperfectly composed, even though there are mistakes in translation, etc. Namani Anantasya Yashon Kintaniyat. It contains the name, the form, the pastimes, the paraphernalia of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shrinvanti Gayanti Grananti Sadhavaha. It's heard, sung, and accepted by all men who are thoroughly honest. So this was one of Prabhupada's primary strategies for imparting Vedic wisdom into the Western world and the whole world, was this Srimad Bhagavatam, to educate all people in the techniques of spiritual life. So one of the techniques of spiritual life is the study of Srimad Bhagavatam. And this will check the imbalances of values in life and achieve real unity and peace in the world. So I'd like to ask Nityananda Prabhu to kindly speak more about the techniques of spiritual life that will check the imbalances of values and the importance of values. And I know Nityananda Prabhu is expert in values in Bhagavad Gita. So this is an opportunity for us to hear this topic from him. Please proceed, Prabhu.
Well, everyone here on this Zoom call, all the ladies and all the men, have it in their heart and have it in their desire to be respected. Everybody here wants to be respected. You want to be respected as a leader. And when I say respected as a leader, if you have a family, you want to be respected. You're looked upon as somebody who can be trusted and as a leader. And if you're in a social group, you would like to be respected and be a leader of a social group. And if you're in business, if you have any management ability in business or leadership in business, it's paramount that you're respected, because respect and trust are married. They're hand in hand. And leadership and respect are gained through two ways. The subject knowledge that you have and your motivation to lead. And it's very simple. If you're the mother of a child, you have a subject knowledge of raising your child, and you have a motivation to end up with a good kid. If you're in a social group, you have social skills and you want to like be respected in that group. And the same thing in business. So subject knowledge and motivation to lead. And the second way is if you don't have good subject knowledge and you don't have much motivation to lead, you have this history of wise decision making, clear thinking. That's called wisdom. And wisdom and moral decision making are the same thing, because wisdom comes from making a lot of mistakes. You will, I have, Maharaj will, everybody will make a lot of mistakes in life. And you will think about those mistakes. And you'll have thoughts about those mistakes. And thinking about those mistakes more clearly requires some reference point. You need to think about this, because the point of reference that you're going to have to think about being a wiser person, able to lead family, social groups, and business, means you're going to have some foundation to be able to think more clearly. Every single text, all 670 plus text in the Bhagavad Gita as it is, every text, regardless of how short it is or how insignificant it might appear to you, every single text has at least two moral things to understand from that text. That is how valuable reading the Bhagavad Gita actually is. To take years of your life and read the Bhagavad Gita 1 page a day, 2 pages a day, and think about the moral clause in each one of the texts results in the training of your brain to think more clearly. Now, to get to respected leader status for business, social groups, and family, you're going to have to be respected. And how are you going to get that? You're going to get respect by thinking more clearly than everybody else around you and having some foundation that clear thinking is based upon. We have very few choices in the material world for this, very few. As Maharaj will explain to you, you can either follow Krishna consciousness or Christianity or any other thing, or you can follow yourself, which is the most dangerous leader in the world. You just make it up as you go along. So what I'm encouraging you to do to become a respected leader in your life is read the Bhagavad Gita. Have some foundational reference point to become a wiser person as you grow older. And many of you are in your late 20s and in your 30s. And in the next 20 some years, you're going to rise up to be a husband and a wife, or a mother and a father, and a member of society and a social group. And some of you are going to rise up to be business leaders and important people in businesses. And each one of those positions requires some level of clear thinking and moral answers. Because the people surrounding you, as you drive down the street and look around, you can see the people surrounding you in Kali Yuga are not necessarily good thinkers. The world is not thinking very well. There's 50 wars on earth right now. India will be a completely different country by the time you're 60 years old. But one thing will not change, will never change. It has never changed. And that is the ability to lead, the ability to be respected. How is respect gained? Very simple. Very simple. Subject knowledge and motivation to lead, and a history of wise decision making. And if you work in a company and you're never picked as a leader, you you very possibly could be picked as a leader simply for your wise decision making and your clear thinking. Because the competition for clear thinking in the age of Kali, there's not a lot of competition. A lot of stupid people, a lot of horrible mistakes are being made all the time, every day, all around you. So you don't have a lot of competition for becoming a clear thinker and a wise person. And if you want to be successful in family, social, or in business, not a lot of competition for clear thinkers. Big competition for subject knowledge and motivation. You encounter a lot of people. If you're in computer programming, you'll encounter people who are .NET experts and highly motivated to lead. Doesn't necessarily make them good decision makers with clear thinking. It just makes them experts in one thing, .NET and high motivation. So I encourage you to create a foundation, read the Bhagavad Gita, look at each one of the texts in the Bhagavad Gita and think about it. Read one page a day. You just read one chapter text per day and think about what the takeaway is from that. There's always some takeaway from every text in the Gita. That will give you a foundation. You do that for a number of years, suddenly all the mistakes you're making become easier to think about because you're gaining wisdom at a rapid rate based upon a good foundation. How's that?
That's beautiful, Nityananda Prabhu. Thank you so much. We can, there's so many people that have subject knowledge. There's so many people that are highly motivated. But how many people have real wisdom and clear thinking? This is a rare commodity. And our devotees can develop this clear thinking and this real wisdom by a solid foundation of Bhagavad Gita. Even just reading one or two verses, one or two shlokas per day, over the years will develop, and thinking, internalizing Bhagavad Gita, understanding. And one of the best ways to understand it is to read and study in the Association of Devotees. So I'm very happy to share, for those who may not know, the good news, and to remind others that we have a daily Bhagavad Gita course that we offer our ISKCON Kirtan Ministry members, and that is Solving Modern Problems the Bhagavad Gita Way.
Facing life challenges.
Facing Life Challenges the Bhagavad Gita Way. So Facing Life Challenges the Bhagavad Gita Way, every day at 9 p.m. we have a Zoom call. It's just a short half-hour class. So I encourage all of us to attend that. Facing Life Challenges the Bhagavad Gita Way. Very nice. And also just something that Nityananda Prabhu shared that resonated with me was he said your own worst enemy is that when you think that you can come up with the knowledge yourself. And we need to get knowledge from an authorized source, from Bhagavad Gita, not that we just make it up ourselves. So there's a saying I really like, that a person who says that he is his own guru, he has a fool for a disciple. Right? A person who says he's his own guru, he has a fool for a disciple. So if we think we're our own guru, we can come up with our own answers ourselves, then actually that just shows how foolish we are. So I want to go on and look at the next purpose of ISKCON. Number 2, to propagate a consciousness of Krishna, God, as it is revealed in the great scriptures of India, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So we just discussed this, that Bhagavad Gita is so important because it will propagate a consciousness of Krishna, God, as Krishna himself declares in Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Krishna says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So the emphasis that we want to propagate Krishna consciousness. Devotees asked Srila Prabhupada at the time of the incorporation of ISKCON, why call it International Society for Krishna Consciousness? Why not call it International Society for God Consciousness? Then more people can relate to it. Do you remember what Prabhupada said, Nityananda Ram Prabhu, about this?
I remember him in Detroit telling me about this, and one of the things he said was that his guru in Calcutta had hinted to him that so many had gone before him to London and a few even to America, and they had held out Krishna consciousness and said, "Look what we have! Look what we have!" And his guru told him, "You've got to print books and you have to sell it." That's what his guru told him, that you can go to the West, but you have to sell this. You can't just hold it out on a platter and say, look what we have. And you should be able to establish centers globally, at least in London and in New York, which was the initial strategy. The initial strategy from the Calcutta boys, as they were known, was that, oh, okay, we can go to London because there's Indians there, and we can go to New York City because there's Indians there, and we should be able to have an international society between those two places. And Prabhupada quickly found out that he had a lot of young men and women that were just thrilled to be able to get on a jet and fly someplace they'd never been, rent a house, and start a temple. So I did have a conversation about this, and I didn't. I have read something that you're going to talk about in just a second, but I did have a conversation about this very subject, and the original plan really was London and New York City, and that would have solved the initial desire. If it never went past New York City and London, we did it. We made it. And what really took place was a time, place, and circumstance in history where there was a large group of very willing people to move the Krishna conscious movement on a global scale. And if I can divert for just a minute and address all the people on this Zoom call for just a second. The three things you'll be involved in life are your job, your income, how you make money, which is in business. You'll be involved in some social activity, and most of you will go on to be involved, if you're not already, in family life. And this social part of those three things, business, social, and family, I would encourage you strongly to make ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, your social group, and to actually go through the process of having a real social group in your life. Something that as you get older, if people say, well, are you in any social group? You can actually say, I'm a Hare Krishna devotee. I am a member. And when they say, what do you mean member? And you say, I'm initiated. I have a devotee name. I have passed my Bhakti Shastri test. I joined ISKCON 25 years ago. Me personally, I joined ISKCON 55 years ago when I was a young man. And I was in business for 40 years. And I was in business 44 years, and I still managed to claim to anyone who asked me, I'm a Hare Krishna devotee. And I've met thousands and thousands of business people in the course of my business. In America, where the Hare Krishna devotees were fairly well known, unlike India, which are very well known. So I would encourage you for the social activity in your life as you grow older to be able to say you're part of a social group, and ISKCON is a social group. I mean, look at Maharaj and me. We're social buddies. We're social friends. We're in a social group. We're ISKCON devotees. And so I would encourage you to take that step. It's not a big step. It really isn't. You you got to chant some japa. You got to follow some moral regulations. You got to take a name and become a devotee. And at a certain point in your life, you're going to say, hey, I'm a Hare Krishna devotee and I'm really happy about it. It's not difficult. And I would encourage you to make ISKCON your social group in your life. That didn't answer your question, but I did get to pitch ISKCON.
Make ISKCON your social group in life. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That would make Srila Prabhupada really happy. Srila Prabhupada said, we want to have this International Society for Krishna Consciousness because Krishna is God. Krishna is the name, means all attractive, Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word God is impersonal. It could refer to any God. We are promoting Krishna consciousness. And as such, we want to make Krishna's samstha, Krishna's organization, ISKCON, we want to make that our social organization. So I'm going to read just one more of these purposes. To bring the members of the society together with each other. That means social, right? Members coming together. Social. This is a society. The word society means social. So this is about a society. The members come together and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity. He's also a person. Krishna's a person. Paschacha desha tarne, nivishesha shunyavadi paschacha desha tarne. Srila Prabhupada wanted to stop impersonalism, voidism, understanding that Krishna is a person, the prime entity, and develop the idea within the members and humanity at large that each soul, each Atma, is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead, Krishna. So he's establishing that Krishna is a person, and he's establishing that we are also people, we are also persons, we are Atma, we are eternal servants of Krishna. Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishnera Nityadas, that the Atma is an eternal servant of Krishna, and the Atmas are together in this ISKCON, this Krishna Consciousness Society. So I want to stop here, and I want to see if there are any comments or questions from our esteemed, exalted audience. If you have a question for Nityananda Ram Prabhu or myself or both of us, or a comment, please raise your hand, either electronically or physically, and we'll do our best to recognize you. Electronically is easier for us because then your name will pop up and we'll be able to see you easily. So
One of the questions is, how can we overcome pride?
Okay,
And
great.
this is, folks, there's two things that cause pride. There's two things that are running your life. They're running my life. They're running Maharaj's life. These are two things in the material world that everybody on this Zoom call is subject to. It's money and comfort. Without any money, you want more money. If you're living underneath the overpass and you're sleeping on concrete tonight in the dark with all the cars around you, you certainly would like more money to get out of that situation because it's uncomfortable. There's two things running everybody's life: money and comfort. This is the material world. It's designed this way. This money and comfort thing, it's not necessarily money all the time. You could be trading beads for food. It's the object of getting comfort, and getting comfort. Even the deer in the woods find a comfortable place to lay down at night. They don't pick a hard place. Everybody wants these two things. And with comfort and with any amount of money at all will come some pride that you have comfort and some money. And when you take away both of those things, there's no pride left. You're desperate. You're highly uncomfortable and you're starving to death. And there's no pride left. It is the same situation as having cancer and dying. There's no pride left. You're dying. It's coming to an end. Many of you have seen your relatives die. There's no pride in the final hours. No pride left at all. There's nothing to be proud of anymore. It's gone. So you overcome pride by understanding the material world you're involved in. You can chant japa for a long time and still be a proud person. You can become a multimillionaire and not have any pride at all and commit suicide because you're just so upset with yourself. Pride comes from two things: comfort and money. And you need to be able to manage your opinion of your success with those two things. If your opinion of your success is so great because you've got a bed to sleep on and your neighbor sleeps on the floor, don't be so proud about that, because pride is a relative situation that occurs when you can be proud of yourself over somebody else. If there's nobody else, you can't be proud. You can be, but there's no one to be proud in front of. It's like dying. Everything's gone. It's going to end in an hour, so you're not proud anymore. So the way to manage pride is to fully understand that this is in front of your friends, families, and neighbors. That's what it's directly in front of. They see it just as well as you don't see it. And so managing that is a constant reflection of, yes, I have money, but it's not so important. Yes, I have a nice house and my neighbors have a hut. Maybe I should help my neighbor a little bit. Maybe I should do something to reduce my level of pride. It takes management to manage pride. It doesn't just disappear because you do something. You have to manage it your whole life. You have to consider it your whole life. And pride and arrogance are the same thing. So another question we have is, how can we know if the decisions we are making, like in choosing a job or any other important matter, are the right ones? I'm an expert in this. You will know after you made the mistake. This is how you find out. Okay. Devotees have said certain things to me that have never given them the answer they wanted to hear. And Maharaj is aware of the fact that I give answers people don't want to hear. Some devotees have said, what are some lessons we can learn in life? Well, it took me about 50 years to learn that when I bend over to pick something up, to look above my head so I don't raise my head up and hit something. It took about 50 years to learn that because I was always bending over and standing up and hitting my head on something, like many of you do. So you make these decisions in life, like choosing a job, and you look at it, you think about it, you think, oh, well, I have two job choices, I'm taking this one. And then 6 weeks later, you say, that was a mistake, I should have taken the other one. This is how you learn. It is not some magical thing that happens that you can ensure your choices are aligned with Krishna's will. No matter what Krishna's will is for you, your willpower can change that. At any time of your life, your willpower is more powerful than anything else. At any point in your life, you can decide to make a horrible mistake. And you can make it intentionally or unintentionally. But you do have karma, and your willpower can change that. Free will, very dangerous. Very dangerous. It's very dangerous. You have two great job offers, and free will is going to decide for either one of them. And you choose the right one, that's good karma. You choose the wrong one, it's a lesson to be learned. I have another question that says that the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that we should be detached from our material life. Not completely, but to some extent. So what is actual detachment in the life of a devotee? And how should we be detached? Well, Maharaj, you can take that one.
Okay, thank you, Nityananda Prabhu. So detachment in our material life. Krishna says that we should not be detached from our material life, not completely, but to some extent. So what is actual detachment in the life of a devotee? And how should we be detached? So there's a beautiful verse. Let me see if I can bring it up on the screen here. And that's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text number 2. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to share the screen. You can chant this along with me. This is a beautiful verse about renunciation from the Dhyana Yoga chapter of Bhagavad Gita. You can chant along with me. Yam sanyasam iti prahur
Sanyasamiti brahur
yogam tam vidi pandava
yogam tam vidhi pandava
nahya asyasyata sankalpo
sankalpo
yogi bhavati kaschana.
yogi bhavati kashana.
So what is called renunciation or detachment, you should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. So the point is that we should renounce the desire for sense gratification to try to enjoy independently from Krishna. Srila Prabhupada gives an example of a finger trying to enjoy independently of a body. So the job of the finger and the hand is to take the prasadam and put the prasadam in the mouth. The mouth will chew. It will go down the throat and then into the stomach and digest, and then the body will become strong and nourished. Now, if the finger tries to enjoy independently of the body, and let's say the finger is trying to enjoy a rasagula by itself, it tries to chew on the rasagula, without putting it in the mouth, then the body will not become nourished, and eventually the finger and the whole hand and the whole body will become very weak. So real detachment means not trying to enjoy independently apart from Krishna, but to feed the body and to serve Krishna, which is our natural position. Jivara Srupahoy, Krishnera Nityadas, to serve Krishna. And when we serve Krishna, then we will also get real happiness, real satisfaction, and real spiritual nourishment. There's another beautiful shloka, first canto's second chapter, text number 6. Savayapum samparo dharmo, Savayapum samparo dharmo, Yato bhakti radhoksaje, Ahoitaki apratiyata, Yayatma suprasidati.
Yatmasu
So to get real happiness, real satisfaction, Yayatma suprasidati. Prasidati means happy, and su means very much. Su, Superman. To get super happiness and super satisfaction, the Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Radhoksaje, the bhakti unto the Supreme Lord, that is what is required. So real renunciation is to renounce our desires to enjoy independently from Krishna, and real yoga and real renunciation means to utilize our senses in the service of Krishna. I hope that explains it, and I hope that answers your question. Hare Krishna.
I have
Nityananda Prabhu.
a couple things that
Yeah,
were in the, if I may,
sure.
Krishna Dasi and Prana Vallabha. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
One of these two questions are very similar. How can we serve our guru and Srila Prabhupada and please them while staying humble?
Mhm.
And the second one, when it comes to serving our family, who many are not Krishna conscious or aligned with being devotees, there are challenges in how to overcome them.
Mm.
Your life will go on. All of these things will become a story in your life. Every day that you live, if someone was to write a story of your life, they could take it day by day and write a story of your life. You're living your own story of your own life. You're making the decisions. No one else is making these decisions. You are. And if you want to please your Guru Maharaj and please Srila Prabhupada, those things that I talked about making advancement in Krishna consciousness, and when it comes to serving your family and not being Krishna consciousness, there are challenges. I have good news and bad news. The bad news is the challenges are going to remain. And the second part of the bad news is you're not going to overcome them. The challenges are going to remain. The way that you overcome them for yourself, not for them, is you make more advancement in Krishna consciousness, which requires effort. It requires doing something more than nothing. You have to move forward with Krishna consciousness. You must do something. You must chant some japa, read some books, associate with devotees, offer your prasadam. Family's going to complain. Why are you doing this nonsense? But your Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada will be pleased because the actions of doing these things, the actions of putting work into Krishna consciousness is humbling. I'm an old man. I roll out of bed every day at 3:10 a.m. I go to bed at 7 o'clock at night. I'm at my bedtime right now. Okay. I have to chant 16 rounds in the morning or I feel like I'm a failure in life. Okay. This is work. It's effort. I have to chant, and some days I chant 16 rounds and it's worse than going to the dentist and having teeth pulled. But I get through it and I get it done. And other days it's joyful and I love it. But you have to put work in to Krishna consciousness. You have to do the things that are necessary to be devotees, to serve your Guru Maharaj, and to make Prabhupada happy. Doing those things will make you humble. And doing those things will overcome the challenges that family members you might be living with, or in-laws. If you're married and your mother-in-law hates you and she's always at your house, there's nothing you can do, but you can do it for yourself. And if you do it for yourself, it overcomes it for you. And that is the thing you need to overcome, not other people's problems. You need to overcome your problems. And the second question is from Narayan, where he asked that, and this is a very good question. Yes, wisdom comes from making mistakes in life. And the question is, what if someone makes a mistake and perceives it to be the biggest mistake ever, which seems they can't rectify it, which might start to feel like the end of the world and might get completely demotivated to do anything about it? What should one be doing? You live long enough. You're young people mostly. You live long enough, you will make terrible mistakes. I have already made in my life the biggest mistake, which was unrectifiable. I did it when I was young. You will do this. It will happen to you. This is the material world. In the material world, it's awful. You might have some comfort, you might have some money, but it can get awful really quickly. And you need to just move on because it's going to be a chapter in the story of your life. And later on in life, you will look back upon this chapter and you will actually just say out loud, staring into the mirror, "Oh, that was horrible. That was just horrible that I did that." But it's just going to disappear after a while. It's just going to be some paragraph in the chapter of your life. And yes, you can't fix it. You can become more Krishna conscious. You can learn to love God. You can have the joy of being in a social organization like ISKCON and having devotee friends who surround you. You can put some effort into becoming a devotee, and you can move forward, which solves a lot of problems in your life. And I can tell you, I was a business owner for 45 years of some very large U.S. businesses. Big problems, big problems. The only thing you can do is just keep going forward, chanting japa, associating with devotees, offering your food, reading the Shastra, join ISKCON, have some friends who you can go through life with that have similar ideals as you do. And this solves a lot of problems. It really does. It doesn't solve all problems. Everybody's got continuing problems, but becoming an ISKCON devotee at least surrounds you with devotees, and it solves some of your problems.
Jai Ho. Thank you so much, Nityananda Prabhu. And thank you for joining us. I'm going to let Stoka Krishna go, Prabhu. I conclude the session. My gratitude, Nityananda Prabhu, for joining us this evening. It has been a delight and honor to have your association on the call this evening, and so grateful to you. It's your bedtime now, but you're preaching like a lion, and thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
I also would like to thank Maharaj Shri and Nityananda Prabhu. Thank you so much. There was the one of the most amazing session we all ever had. The wonderful association on this day, and I am wanting this session to have we should have such more sessions. So many questions and beautiful answers are coming. So I would request on today's day only that we would have a session very soon, and this collaboration is something which really is delightful for all of us. So we have many questions, and we can have a question answer sessions where such beautiful questions could be answered. So devotees, we would not take any questions anymore, but thank you so much for everyone for joining. Thank you so much, Nityan Ram Prabhu, for taking out time for all of us, and we really need your time. So some of our devotees would contact you and for classes, so you may give your free time so that we could have your classes also. Also, Prabhuji has shared Radio Mayapur link on in the chat box. Please visit Radio Mayapur. See the wonderful services done by Prabhuji in that. There are so many interviews, so many beautiful discussions which can be nectarian and which can be valuable, that they can add so much insights to all of our lives. So I would request all of you, please go to the website and check it. Prabhuji also has shared his number. So if anyone wants to do some service for Radio Mayapur, or anyone wants to share something, some feedback or anything, you are all welcome.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for joining for today's session.
And also, Radio Mayapur is a 24/7 internet radio station with devotional music.
Radio Mayapur is my retirement saver. I was here in Mayapur now for about 14 years. And okay, you chant the japa in the morning and you go to the morning program and then you eat breakfast. And then what do? I mean, what do you do? I mean, I got so bored. I was going crazy. I needed some service. And I was chairman of the Mayapur Finance Committee for 2 years. Boy, that was a mistake. And I needed something to do. And I thought, well, let's spend 40 lakh on a recording studio that no one will come to and see what happens. And so I put together Radio Mayapur as Seva. It is a nonprofit. I have no way of having revenue. It is simply something to do to serve devotees. That's all it's about. We do not do any podcasts that are controversial, which reduces likes and clicks and views dramatically, because the only thing we do is the life and times of Hare Krishna devotees. We talk about religion. We talk about the life and times, how people became a Hare Krishna devotee, what life is like as a Hare Krishna devotee, what problems they had, what successes they had, what are they doing now, what did they do in the past. And it is, you can go to the website and read about it. It's fairly comprehensive. And on the media page, there's a flip book, which is our brochure, which will describe Radio Mayapur a little bit. Anyone who would like to be involved with Radio Mayapur in any way, WhatsApp me and we'll talk about it. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Nityananda Ram Prabhu.
Free advertising. I love it.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai. Shri Panchatattva ki jai. Shri Radha Madhava Astasakis ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So thank you all of the devotees who joined for today. We have this daily Bhagavad Gita sessions happening every day for Mataji's as well as Prabhuji. So I would request everyone to participate in these sessions. And we have multiple services for ISKCON Kirtan Ministry and ISKCON Padyatra Ministry. So every devotee can do some small service in offline mode or online mode. So we're all excited to collaborate. Whoever wants to lead some services or do some services for Kirtan Ministry or Padyatra Ministry, please come in contact with our devotees, and we have a service for everyone. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.